Arc builds are definitely not the most popular this season, but honestly, this one is still really good. Now, the reason Arc is not at the forefront this season is because we don't really have anything that increases your Arc capabilities in our artifact mods. On top of that, the main surges they are focusing on this season are Strand, Solar, and Void, so Arc's just kind of left in dust. While that does suck, a good thing to note is that with this build already being as strong as it is currently, that means when next season or even future seasons roll around and we have Arc-based artifact mods alongside surges, this thing is going to reign supreme. So if you want to have an Arc build ready, or you just miss playing Arc a little bit with all the new stuff, definitely give this a shot and you're going to enjoy it.
But hey, are you in the market for a brand new gaming PC? Well, look no further than my custom line of Apex gaming PCs. All of these are price optimized to run Destiny 2 at a great performance, and you can completely customize it the way you want to if you would like to swap anything out. All the links that you'll need are in the description of this video, and remember that you can save up to $250 when you use code REST at checkout. Alright, so jump right into it. This build is going to be very similar to our old Arc build, but obviously we need to update it with the new mod system. Now for aspects, I'm going to be running Arc Soul alongside Electrostatic Mod. Arc Soul means when I place a rift down, I will actually spawn a little Arc Soul companion that will deal damage. This can also go to your teammates, and when you're amplified, it has an increased rate of fire. Now on top of that, it also has the ability to recharge your rift faster when allies are near you. So this is kind of an offensive and support based aspect. You're going to get increased cooldown for your rift, and if you run something like a healing rift, you can keep your teammates alive alongside providing them Arc Souls. And Arc Souls, if you don't remember, got a huge buff, and these things actually do a ton of damage now in the game. Do not sleep on the Arc Souls. If you have a lot of these out, they can pretty much solo entire rooms of ads, especially if you have Jolt applied everywhere. Now the other aspect is Electrostatic Mines. This means when I defeat an enemy with an Arc ability, or if they're jolted or blinded, I'll make an Ionic Trace. On top of that, Ionic Traces with this aspect will also make you amplify it when you pick them up. If you don't know what Ionic Traces are, they're essentially these little arc lines that will travel on the ground, and when you pick them up, you'll get a bunch of ability energy for all your abilities other than your super. With this aspect, obviously you'll become amplified, which means you have increased movement speed, which is very, very nice. But the main thing is that ability regen, and now with this aspect, pretty much every single part of your kit will have the ability to make these traces. And what's really cool is the fact that your Arc Soul kill will actually make Ionic Traces, which then will make you amplify, which then means that the amplified Arc Soul will have that increased rate of fire. They synergize extremely well together, and this is what it's going to allow you to spam your abilities pretty much all the time. But now, speaking of abilities, let's talk about the grenade I'm going to be running. That is Pulse Grenade. Pulse Grenade is a grenade that when you throw it, it will just periodically sit there and just pulse from time to time. This actually did get a 20% damage increase with the launch of Light Vault, so this is overall probably going to be your best grenade in my opinion. Storm Grenade did get nerfed a little bit in the sense that it takes a little bit more time to get, which doesn't really matter with this build. But the only other grenade I would highly recommend running is something like a Flashbang Grenade. If you want to play into the more support based role, this will blind targets, and alongside that, when you blind enemies now, they will stun unstoppable champions. So if you want to go a more ad clear route, take Pulse Grenade, and if you want to go a more supportive route, you can have Flashbang to blind and jolt targets, which will stun Overload and Unstoppable with one grenade. Either one will work just fine. I am just currently running Pulse Grenade because I just like to kill things with it. Now, Chain Lightning is going to be your next best bet. This does have the lower cooldown of both melees, and this will also jolt targets, which means that will stun an Overload champion. This will also get more damage and chain more when you're amplified, so this melee is honestly really nothing to sleep on. It is really good if you're in a sticky situation, you need to get this out. And this will also help with your ability spam because this will make Ionic Traces, and once we get into our exotic, it pairs extremely well. Now, like I already said, I am running Healing Rift. You can run Empowering Rift if you want to, but honestly, Healing Rift is just so good for survivability. You can have so many rifts down with this build, and you can just have so many points where you can just run to get healed. Your entire team will be good to go. Now, I am running Chaos Reach. This kind of did get nerfed in a way where it doesn't produce as much orbs, but it is still probably the best super out of the two. If you want to go a more ad clear route, you can use Storm Trance, which will make more orbs now, but your kit is kind of already what is doing the ad clear for you, so I wouldn't recommend Storm Trance. Chaos Reach on its own is not that good for doing single target damage, but if you need to take down a champion, just make sure you jolt them first and pop a Chaos Reach on them, or if you're out of ammo, just, you know, you can use this as kind of like a last effort. It did get buffed a little bit ago, so the
base cooldown of it has been reduced so you can get it a little bit faster. Overall, the Arc Warlock supers just are not the greatest, but Chaos Reach is probably your best way to go. Now for fragments, I'm running Spark of Resistance, so I surround it by combatants. You are more resistance to incoming damage. This actually did get nerfed a little bit, but it's still probably the best in slot. Just getting that increased damage resistance is always nice, so you can survive a little bit more. I'm also running Spark of Shock, so your arc grenades jolt targets. This is pretty much a no-brainer since we're trying to spam grenades as much as possible. We're just going to be applying jolt, and you remember with the pulse grenade kind of just sitting there, this just means every single time an enemy runs through it, they will get jolted. And then like I said earlier, with flashbang, you can blind and jolt targets with this fragment, which means you can stun 2 different champions, and overall jolt is still just extremely strong for ad clear. Now I'm also running Spark of Ion, so defeating a jolted target creates an Onyx Trace. Now you might be wondering, why am I running this if I'm running Electrostatic Mine? Well, these actually will stack. Occasionally you will get 2 Onyx Traces to spawn, and sometimes Electrostatic Mine just for some reason it seems like it has an eternal cooldown. It doesn't work all the way, whereas this one just will always work. So this is just going to give you an extra Onyx Trace and just have that consistency so you can always have your abilities up. And then finally I'm running Spark of Magnitude, so my lingering arc grenades, lightning grenade, pulse grenade, and storm grenade have extended duration. This is obviously a no-brainer since I'm running pulse grenade. I want to last a little bit longer. If you do run flashbang instead, you can take something like Spark of Amplitude, so while you amplify it, you will make orbs of power. Swapping that out would be completely fine, but if you're running the pulse grenade route, definitely go Spark of Magnitude. Now the exotic we're running for this is the Fallen Sunstar. This has the exotic perk Ionic Conductor. Ionic Traces you create move faster and grant you additional ability energy. Nearby allies also gain ability energy when you collect an Ionic Trace. So with all the ways we've already talked about and how to generate these Ionic Traces, this is just going to buff them in the sense that they will come to us faster, which is very nice. And then on top of that, we're getting more energy, which is the main part of this. Collecting 2 or 3 Ionic Traces, you pretty much already have all your abilities back. And this is also going to give all your teammates energy as well, so it even acts more as a support-based exotic. You're going to be able to spam rifts everywhere. You're going to be able to get them arc souls. You're going to be feeding them ability energy 24/7. You're ad clearing entire rooms, and this exotic just helps out with all of that, and it is honestly by far the best in slot. You can run Crown of Tempest if you would like to, but in my opinion, if you're not running the Fallen Sunstar, you're just doing Arc a disservice. Crown of Tempest is very strong, but I just don't think it's anywhere on the same level as Fallen Sunstar. Obviously, that's up for you to decide and debate, but I would highly recommend giving Fallen Sunstar a try if you have not used it in the past. Now, stats with the build, 100 resilience and 100 discipline is by far the best way to go. You want to get your grenades back as fast as possible, and that resilience is also going to give you that damage reduction. If you can get to 100 recovery, that is the next thing you should prioritize so you can get your rifts, because the main thing is we want to spend our grenades and rifts. Our melee is kind of our backup if we need it, so if you have any extra energy left over, definitely put that in strength. Now, like I said in the beginning, artifact mods do not matter pretty much at all with this build. There's nothing really that is super focused on arc. Maybe something like shatter orbs just so you can make some orbs, but obviously this works with literally any subclass. Overload SMG is a good option if you are running the Achilles SMG, but your Jolt already is overloading, so it's not like you really need to take this. But again, this is a good sign because that means when we have more future artifacts, that we will potentially have some really good mods to already increase this insanely good build already. Now, weapons for this build always go with the gun with Volt Shot. This just means when you get a kill, you reload it. It's going to then be able to apply Jolt to an enemy, and Jolt obviously is extremely strong with this build. Achilles SMG is definitely the most popular one of them, but there are a bunch of other weapons that also can have it. And then obviously for power weapon, just go with whatever's in the meta. And then I am running an Arbalist. You can kind of swap this out. I'm mainly just running this for anti-barrier since Arc kind of already has Unstoppable and Overload covered. So you can just throw anti-barrier in the mix and you pretty much have every single champion covered, and you don't really have to swap anything out. And with match game gone, you can always run your Volt Shot weapon without really ever having to worry about having that exact element to match those shields, which is really cool. And as a quick note, if it wasn't obvious, the Volt Shot on the weapon perk will actually synergize with everything in your subclass and your exotic. So it is almost mandatory, I would say, to run a Volt Shot weapon because it is very strong. Now, these are the mods I'm going to be running if you all would like to copy them down and figure everything out for yourself. But jumping right into it, starting off with our helmet, we're going to be running an Arc Siphon. So when we get rapid weapon final blows with an Arc weapon, it will make an Orb of Power. Obviously, with the Achilles SMG, this is going to be very good to make those orbs. Orbs are going to give you armor charge and give you some ability energy once we get later into our mods. I'm also going to be running double Ashes to Assets. So this is going to give me some bonus super energy energy when I get grenade kills. Since we're spamming grenades all the time anyway, this is just going to help out with getting that super back. And with the buff to Chaos Reach to not require as much time to get it, this is just going to pair together really nicely, and you can just clear out an entire room of ads or just take down a tankier target whenever you need to with your Chaos Reach. Don't be scared to use your Chaos Reach. Like I said, it's definitely not the greatest super in the game, so just being able to use it to just kill something that's annoying you is definitely a strong way to use it. Now for our arms, we have arc loaders, so I can increase the reload speed of all my arc weapons. Obviously hotheads in the meta, Achilles SMG, all that's going to be really good just to reload it really fast. Firepower, so when I get a grenade kill, I'll make an orb. Again, those orbs will give me armor charge alongside giving me ability energy once we get later into the mods. Now your weapon and your grenade can make orbs. On top of that, I'm running a bolstering detonation, so this will grant me class ability energy when I cause damage with my grenade. This is going to be really good because again, we're going to try to spam grenades and rifts as much as possible, so throwing your grenade will give you a bunch of rift energy, and then later in the mods we'll get some grenade energy when we cast our rift. Now for our chest piece, honestly, you can run whatever resistant mods you want to. Just make sure to always swap these out for whatever encounter you're going into, and just always remember to run resistant mods. There's really no reason to not run these things. You just get extra damage reduction, which is obviously very nice for staying alive. Now for the boots, this is where things get interesting. I'm going to be running a recuperation, an innervation, and an insulation. So recuperation will give me some health when I pick up an orb of power. Innervation will give me some grenade energy when I pick up an orb of power, and insulation will give me some class ability energy when I pick up an orb of power. Since we have two different ways to make orbs with our grenade and our weapon, this just means our survivability is going to be a little bit better. We're going to have even more grenade energy, and we're going to have even more class ability energy. This will pair well with our Ionic Traces that will also give us all our energy back. So this is just going to be a great way so we can keep our abilities up 24/7. If you ever get in a situation where you don't think you need this much ability energy or survivability, you could always opt in to run arc weapon surges, so you can make your Achilles SMG do a little bit more damage. Now for my bond, I'm going to be running double bomber. So this is what I was talking about when I said I will get some grenade energy when I use my class ability. So this will reduce my grenade cooldown when I use my class ability. So now again, your bolstering detonation will give you class ability energy, and then this will give you grenade energy. So they work in tandem, they go back and forth really well, and then obviously with the orbs and the Ionic Traces, you will have a bunch of ability energy. Now I am going to be running utility kickstart. If you are going to opt in to run arc weapon searches, I would definitely not recommend this, but since I'm not really worrying about that, utility kickstart means when I cast my rift, I will actually gain some class ability energy back, and if I have armor charges, it will consume them, which will give me even more energy. So as you can tell with the mods, all you want to do is throw your rift and your grenades back all the time to keep feeding energy off of them. Obviously your orbs are going to play into that as well, with the Ionic Traces coming back with your exotic helmet. On top of all that, with your Attic Clear, you have Volt Shot, you have your Spark of Shock, jolting enemies with your grenades. You have a bunch of survivability with Spark Resistance and even things like recuperation. You're going to be getting your super back crazy with Ashes to assets, alongside also supporting your team because Fallen Sunstar will give them ability energy. And you will also be able to put a bunch of rifts down and have arc souls everywhere for your entire team. And overall, I just love this build. It's super supportive, it's super offensive, it's one of my favorite builds in the game, and I seriously cannot wait for arc artifact mods to come around, because I really do think this build is going to be one of the best in the game. Bungie really took what was really bad when Arc 3.0 first came out and just made it to this powerhouse of a build, especially with the new mod system, because you can literally have abilities 24/7 without anything super special going on. Like I always do at the end of these videos, this is the transmog I am running, and if you all would like to copy it down, obviously I tried to go with the most electric build I could think of, since the whole point of this is just to be filled with arc energy. I definitely tried to reflect that on the armor, and I think I did a pretty good job. So again, if you all would like to copy it down, that is the transmog. But all right, I think that is going to do it all for me. Let me know what you all think about this build in the comments below. I will have a dim link to it in the description if you all would like to try it out. And as always, if you enjoyed and learned anything new, consider subscribing, drop a like, and turn those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough, and that every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.